Hey YouTube, how's it going? Welcome back to the Porsche Network. My mate has very kindly given me his Porsche 987 Boxster while he's away on holiday for the week. And I thought to myself over the last few days, what kind of video could I make on this car that wouldn't sort of get lost in the hundreds of, there's a thousand of the 987 Boxster reviews out there. So I wanted to make a video which is going to be just a little bit different to that. So if you're looking to buy one and you haven't been able to get out and then look at any as yet, this video will probably show you what to expect from a 120,000 mile, 16-year-old Porsche Boxster 987. Guys, my name is Sach, and if you are into Porsche, hints, tips, reviews, guides, road trips, DIY guides, as I say, and anything else in between, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So it's a 2005 Porsche Boxster 987. It's the S model, which means it has the 3.2 litre engine. One downside to this car, maybe depending on how you look at it, is that it does have the Tiptronic gearbox. And as a way of structuring the video, I think what we'll do is we'll first of all focus on all of the bad things on the car, and then we'll take a look at the good things on the car. Guys, one thing to point out first of all, I'm not saying that every Boxster will be like this. It's just, this is a snapshot, and this is what you might expect. Obviously, every single Boxster has led a different life, so every car is in different condition. So the first thing I want to show you is that this can happen on any car, to be honest with you. This car just has so many stone chips, as you can see. It's obviously made a little bit more obvious the fact that it's a black car and they stand out really well. But the whole front bumper, the whole front end, as well as the frunk as well, is just completely covered all the way up, right the way up. And even on the arches as well, the front wings has all of these white stone chip marks. So this car needs a full front end respray, and as I say though, this can happen on any car. The thing is, these cars are just so low, they're often driven in a spirited manner, so the front ends, they just get churned up. It doesn't matter whether it's an MX-5 or any other sports car, this will probably happen. And obviously this one has probably never been resprayed, so this is 15-16 years worth of stone chips. Now, one of the most common problems on these cars is the alternator noise, or the alternator squeal on startup. If you've got that noise, you'll know exactly what I mean. This is what it sounds like. Now, there are two ways you can tackle that. You can either get a replacement alternator, or you can actually remove the alternator yourself. You can strip it down and give it a good clean out. I did that on one of my previous 987s and it works a charm. It is quite labor intensive, but it's quite embarrassing to be outside of a shop or wherever you are where there's a lot of people, and you start the car up and you get that absolutely awful noise. It's really quite embarrassing. Now, when you're sitting in the car, you get in and you expect to be able to get the seatbelt. Normally it's like right there and you're like, well, where is it? So what's happened on this car is that it doesn't wind back in, like it's supposed to. Like, it comes out like that and it winds in so far, but it doesn't wind back like it's supposed to. So that needs looking at. In addition to that, you can see these marks here on the sill where the seatbelt has been caught in this area here, and then they've shut the door, and it's obviously left quite a few horrible scorch marks. And the rest of the car does have a lot of paint flat spots. It has a few scratches here and there and a few dents here and there. Like I say though, you come to expect that. It's something that you've really got to keep on top of as and when they happen, otherwise they will all mount up and probably the whole car will end up needing some serious detailing work, possibly a full respray. Now, on the cold autumn and winter mornings, when you wake up first thing in the morning, you look at the windscreen, it's got condensation on the inside of the car. So it means that somewhere along the car, around the doors possibly, or around the roof lining, the seals are not as good as they should be. And just while I've been filming there, I've noticed that this button here, you can see, is starting to come away. You can see you can almost pull it out. That's cheap enough, but I just thought I'd mention it as well. It's a bit flimsy looking. The plastic on the headlights is a little bit flat and could do with sort of freshening up. There are kits you can buy that you can do this in your own time. You can feel it's very rough, so that needs attention. So I'm coming up to a junction here and I can see that putting my foot on the brake pedal, the brakes are really spongy. That can happen in any car, so I think this car would benefit from the brake system, the fluid being completely bled. So bleed the brakes, put new fluid in, and that should stop the sponginess of the brakes. The brake pedal is also quite squeaky and making quite like a creaking noise when I'm doing that, so maybe a bit of lubricant down there somewhere. That's what she said. would help. Now, as luck would have it, I'm driving the car and the rain is starting to come down, so that's why I've got the roof up. But that gives me an option, or an opportunity to find out what it sounds like with the roof up while driving. No radio on, so I'm noticing quite a few creaking noises coming from the back of the roof area. And I think to myself, you know what, it's not too bad. There are creaks there, there are a few rattles there, but for a 16, 17-year-old Boxster with a convertible roof, you know, that's probably just normal. Show me a 16, 17-year-old convertible that doesn't have any creaking noises or any sort of rattles when moving along. I'll wait here, because I don't think you'll probably be able to find one. Even my Targa 991, which is a 2015 model, that has some noises as well, so you're never going to eradicate that, unfortunately. Now, as I'm driving along here, I'm not sure how well you can either hear any of these beeps, but I'm getting a battery stroke generator warning message, so that needs a little bit looking into. This car has benefited actually from a brand new battery within the last few months, so it'd be interesting to find out what the problem is there, whether it just hasn't been connected up correctly, or the terminals are a little bit loose, or indeed it's a bigger problem like an alternator. We just don't know as yet, but we are getting that message, so you know, bearing in mind that you will get warning messages popping up from time to time. A good opportunity for me to plug the iCarSoft POR version 1.0 tool, which goes hand in hand with a car like this, because it allows you to diagnose all of the main systems like the engines, the airbags, ABS, transmission, electrical systems, the roof operation. So I'd highly recommend that tool if you are looking at buying one of these cars. Now, I'd recommend you pause these screens to see them in greater detail, but they do provide information on recent work carried out and recommendations for future work, with all prices included. So what about all the things that are still really, really good after all of these years? Well, let's take a look. So the roof operation is still absolutely perfect. Everything functions as it's supposed to, and it comes over nice and smoothly. And once the back is down, you can just pop that in place and lock the roof in place. One other thing that I want to show you about the roof though is that, to the owner's credit, he's done a bit of treatment on the roof and it looks really, really good. Let me show you. So he's spent a bit of time, as you can see, on this roof, and for a 16-year-old car, this convertible roof is actually pretty damn impeccable. One thing that he did point out to me actually was that there are a few kind of like chip marks along the sides, so he's going to try and get some sort of filler product to actually fill these in. They don't look great like that, but that's a winter job for him, I believe. Now remember that this is the S model and it has the 3.2 litre engine, and let me tell you something about this engine. It still pulls like an absolute train. This thing feels like it would just keep going and going. I've got a bus in front of me, so I'm going to have to put the brakes on. But what a pull that engine still has. Really, really puts you back in your seat when you put your pedal to the metal. And couple it with that sports exhaust, which still sounds phenomenal. Oh yes, 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 yes. I think it's testament to the way the engines are built, the exhausts are made, and you know, given that these cars, providing they are serviced correctly, serviced according to the Porsche schedule, then you really, really shouldn't have a problem with the engines on these cars. Yes, there are documented issues about the IMS bearing, the bore scoring, but you know, do your checks on those cars, budget for maybe an extra £1,000 if you want to get the IMS bearing done on this. Other than that though, there is not a lot wrong that can go with these engines. And even those problems, they are so minute compared to the amount of engines that were actually produced in these cars. So what can I say about the handling of this car? Honestly, the handling of this car is just sublime. I'm absolutely caning it into these corners here on these old country roads, and it's just handling like a train. Obviously it's not my car, so I don't want to give it full send, but it's certainly capable of everything that I'm throwing at it. And I'm putting my foot down in these corners and it shows no signs of being unsteady or incapable. And that's one of the things I love about these 987s. They're just so capable when putting your foot down into these corners. lot of fun for the money. And there is one thing that I've completely forgot to mention so far in this video. It is the Tiptronic gearbox. The Tiptronic gearbox is, as you probably know, you've probably done a bit of reading on this gearbox, and it's not as good as the PDK. It doesn't shift as quick as the PDK. PDK is just super quick. The Tiptronic gearbox is better suited to something like a Cayenne or a Panamera, where you're going to be doing your daily driving, not in such a spirited, sporty manner. So, you know, I'm not saying it, I'm not dissing it, I'm not saying it's the worst gearbox in the world. It's once the gearbox is warmed up, it's not so bad. If it's quite cold, it takes a lot of time to shift, and sometimes you're sitting there thinking, why isn't it shifting? Why isn't it shifting? You've just got to keep sort of kind of accelerating, and then it will shift. But when it's warm, it's not so bad. It just takes a little bit longer than the PDK box. But honestly, I'll go out on a limb and I'll say that I think this Boxster 987 is possibly the best value Porsche out there on the used market right now. It's cheaper than the Cayman. You get top up, top down experience. The price you pay for these cars is, I mean, I think you probably pick one up from about £7,000 or £8,000. Yes, you'll probably need to put a bit of money into that. The things that I've mentioned in this video will probably need to be looked at. But, you know, as far as sort of enjoyment and value out of a sports car goes, this Boxster 987, they really don't come much better than that, and much better value. Guys, if you are in the market for a 987, or maybe you're just watching this video learning about Porsche cars, then I hope you've learned something from this video. I hope you have taken something from this video. I hope it's helped you in some way. I do more Porsche videos every week. I do hints, tips, reviews, guides, road trips, adventures, and everything else in between. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You can also follow me for my daily Porsche adventures and my daily Porsche feed on Instagram at tpn.tv. So I really appreciate if you can follow me on Instagram. Look forward to seeing you on that platform, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Until then, keep the faith.